The bugler is that figure that is, in a way, the final moment of laying a serviceman to rest. The playing of taps, in a way, is the capstone of this event. It marks that point of transition, and the whole ceremony kind of moves to now a different phase. In a way, he comes to symbolize for many people that significant moment. What we wanted to do is find something, some element here that would recognize that moment. And we fixed upon the bugler to do that. To me, the significance of the bugler and the playing of taps is that it marks that moment. And there is that second between the time that the bugler raises the bugle to his lips and starts the playing of taps. It's that just millisecond in time where everybody is looking at the bugler. They're waiting for that sound. And then he starts playing taps. And what we wanted to do here was to catch that moment. We were asked to redesign the visitor center gallery to make it a welcome center.
The Arlington National Cemetery tasked the Center for Military History to provide all the curatorial and design of the new visitor center. The building's layout almost just seems to demand something at the center of the two axes of the building from which visitors can enter. They can enter through any of several different doors, and whichever entrance they choose, we want them immediately to see something significant, something that catches the eye. And the bugler playing taps seemed like the most iconic figure that we could imagine putting in that spot. I'm unable to put myself in the shoes of a person who actually plays taps at funerals. I can't imagine, but it must be very emotional and meaningful to the bugler. I don't think it could ever become something that one does purely mechanically without feeling. And therefore, getting that moment and that empathy that the bugler has as a result of having done this before and knowing what's coming and knowing how all eyes are turned on him and knowing how for these people, the mourners, the world stands still until he's finished, the last of those 24 notes. We couldn't see hiring someone as an actor or to do that. It seemed like the authenticity of the figure had to come from someone who had actually experienced it firsthand.
My name is Staff Sergeant Jesse Tubb from the United States Army Band, and I'm on a train northbound to New York City to go to ICE Studios, where they make statues, and I'm going to be a statue.
Making the figure highly realistic is important to maintain that connection between the visitor and the bugler. That this bugler is a real human being.
You don't just say, I want, a bugler in dress uniform from Arlington Cemetery. You've got to get all the details right.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome. So the first thing we have to do Because Dr. Curitin wants to see you in your uniform. We'll photograph you in that uniform in the pose.
I'm the production manager here at Studio Ice, and I've been working here for over 7 years now, and in the industry for about 13, 14 years. Costume shop slash painting studio. Right now our painter will be here in any moment, and she's actually in progress painting some of these figures. Again, these are for the Puerto Rico Sports Museum. Over here, this is Thomas Jefferson for Richmond State Capitol in Virginia. This was an 8-foot-tall bronze sculpture dedicated in May, and he's on a 4-foot-tall base in a very impressive rotunda at the Capitol building.
My first impression of the place and the people were they were absolute professionals. They sort of gave us a history of some of the work that they've done, and just amazing, overwhelming, the level of detail and the amount of work that has to go into each product that they do. And it's really, really fascinating.
Studio Ice. Welcome, let's get started.
Yeah, sounds good.
I hadn't spent much time thinking about what was going to happen just because I had no clue how it was going to work. I didn't know whether they were going to do the entire body at one time, and so having to hold the pose, I had no idea, and so I sort of didn't let myself get too carried away with the guessing game.
We cast your head first, body second. We do your body in 2 parts, upper part and lower part, and then we do your hands at the end. So the whole casting scenario will probably be about 2.5 hours or so.
Just so you know, but that is the moment that he is talking about capturing.
This where it doesn't face us. Now it's time for the pose, right?
Follow this exactly, and I think it's slightly parted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, relax.
When they first started explaining, and then they said that it was all supposed to take place within a 3-hour period, I was sort of, it's hard for me to believe that they were going to be able to do it in 3 hours.
What I'm going to do before we do the front head, I'm going to go get that trumpet part, and I might have to like kind of hold it against your lips. You can just hold that for a little bit longer until we get that bandage on there.
When they put the molding on my head, we had to put the mouthpiece, so they put the layer of goo on my face, and I had to keep that pose.
Okay? Good. Jesse, got thumbs up? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Get our hands in there. Okay, very good. Coming off, pulling on the skin a little bit. Okay, there it is. All right, hands on the face. Bend at your waist. Slowly start to pull yourself out of there. Leave the mouthpiece, right?
You could blow
You can puff a little bit of air in there. You should be able to get yourself out a little bit easier. Might stick on your eyelashes a little. There you go.
Ooh, beautiful. Really nice.
Actually, it looks great. You have enough open mouth in there, I can see it. It's perfect.
Then after the head, we did the legs, and that was, I got to wear some tights again, which was always, always a special moment.
Okay, very good. Anna's got a pair of pantyhose for you.
All right. Good to go?
I think so.
Looking good? All right.
Here you go. Thank you.
Everyone ready? Okay, here we go.
after the back half is off, we'll just step out of the front, one leg at a time. You're gonna get this. We'll start. Yes. Be careful. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. They separate good?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the last thing.
Okay, great. All right, now be very careful because it's very slippery. So just that to this side. Excellent. Well done. Great. So have a seat for a moment, and then we'll be right back, and we'll put Vaseline on the top half, and then we'll proceed with the top half.
So when they did the casting for the legs and the upper arm, the longer it stays on your body, the more it heats up, and I'm sure that's just the chemical process of hardening. And they left the upper body on longer than the lower body, and I think it was partly the woman who was in charge of that process was explaining the process and kind of talking, and it got pretty warm, and I started sweating, and I started getting a little uncomfortable. I was like, I'm ready. I think the only surprise that maybe I wasn't fully anticipating and caught me off guard a little bit was the hands, and just how they had to cast the hands. And I guess I didn't really give it, like I said earlier, I didn't give it too much thought as to what they were going to do. They put this stuff called body double on my hands, and it formed into this really hard rubber around my hands, and you've got all the details of wrinkles and whatnot in the wedding ring. One of the employees forgot to put the remove cream on before they put on the rubber molding, so instead of it kind of gliding off, it sort of tore off. It's all right, just do it, don't...
No, just go.
It's okay. Okay.
I can hear the hair tearing.
It's okay, just do it.
Can you feeling your finger? Can you move it?
I'm trying.
Some loose?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we're good. Slow. Okay.
You should be pulling it out. I forgot it. I just thinking this is a live phone. I just. Beautiful.
Well, we have to actually put together the mold of his body and then cast the positive material into that, which is a urethane foam. Expanding foam fills the body form, and then we're able to actually build the figure at that point. We'll have his lower torso and upper torso. We put it together with all the measurements that we have made, and working with the photographs that we have of the approved pose. We pose the figure with the cast hands and the plaster head.
I'm going to slush it, which is to make a positive of the head, and I'm going to use regular plaster. And then it'll be cast in a more durable material like an acrylic resin. So it'll be sort of like a car body. It'll be really hard, whereas this plaster is pretty soft. Perfect.
Capital Total Exhibit Services is a full-service design, fabrication, and installation service company providing museum installations throughout the nation. And the Arlington Visitor Center is definitely one of the most prestigious projects that we've worked on in a while.
We'll enclose the box for shipping, go into the back of the truck, be strapped off. The platform behind me will be set in place. We'll put the inner core with the mannequin stand on it. The mannequin will go in. Then we're going to have a couple of the gentlemen from the band tweak the uniform and the mannequin to make sure it's up to specs, and then we'll literally encase it in glass.
Just a week ago, the walls were old black and white photos. Today we have brand new dynamic color photos. There are glass display panels that have history on the glass, silk screened, and the lit photographs behind panels are beautiful. It's a bright and an enjoyable experience for all visitors.
The installation of the Bugler case is going to be one of the last pieces that we put in place.
Really looking forward to getting this one done and banging it out. It's a great honor to have the opportunity to do this.
We have one shot to get this right.
Try not to look at it until after I play taps, so I can just focus on that, but I'm excited to see it.
At this time, Staff Sergeant Jesse Tubb, a musician in the United States Army Band, Pershing's Owen, who serves at Arlington National Cemetery, will accompany Colonel Thomas H. Palmatier, leader and commander of the United States Army Band, Pershing's Owen, to unveil a life-size museum figure of a bugler playing taps, one of the most recognizable components of a military honors funeral for Americans fallen veterans. Staff Sergeant Tubb is a soldier embodied in the figure. The Arlington National Cemetery Welcome Center is officially open. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of taps and the Armed Forces Service Medley.
It's a really extreme honor to be now the face of that particular moment that has become symbolic and really deep and meaningful part of our culture. So it gives me goosebumps to think about what that represents and what I'm able to be a part of now. Not only as my job, which I feel daily when I go out and do my job, but now to be literally the face of that moment and what that represents to everybody is really, really special.
Because in a way that represents everything that is Arlington National Cemetery, is the honor that we pay to our servicemen and women and the significance that their sacrifices have had on our nation. The Bugler represents in one figure everything that is the Arlington experience. It tells the entire story